Now I want to bring in Senator Mazie Hirono. She's a Democrat of Hawaii, and she sits on the Senate Judiciary Committee, of course, which is the committee that evaluates judicial nominees. First, your thoughts about the passing of Ruth Bader Ginsburg tonight, Senator.
Well, first of all, we're in deep shock and sorrow. And she meant so much to millions of people's lives. And I know what her last fervent wish was, that she not be replaced until a new president is installed. And that is how we should honor the legacy of this totally remarkable, courageous jurist, and that is to honor her last words, that she not be replaced until a new president is installed.
Just want to note that the images we are showing there on your screen, of course, are outside the Supreme Court, whereas the news is filtered in. Yes. People have gathered to mourn and to grieve and to pay tribute to the remarkable life and career of Ruth Bader Ginsburg, who passed away today at the age of 87. And Senator, that dying wish, I mean, literally the dying wish of the
Yes.
late justice, does that? I'm not quite sure how to say this. Does that matter to your colleagues?
I think it mattered to my Republican friend and colleague, Lisa Murkowski, and she has already put out a message that to fill this vacancy now and not wait until 2021 would be a double standard. Not that Mitch McConnell cares, but I'm glad that Lisa Murkowski, who, by the way, was the only Republican to vote against Kavanaugh, has put out that statement, because what we're calling for is fairness and decency. And there are only 46 days before the election. Note that the day that Justice Scalia died, that is when Mitch McConnell made the announcement that it would be appropriate for the voters to decide in the election, which was many, many months away. Scalia passed away in February. He makes an announcement in February. The election isn't until November. So the double standard that Lisa talks about is very much something that I hope will move the Republicans, but we shall see. In the meantime, I will look for every procedural tool that I can find to make sure that this does not happen. We will do everything we can.
Well,
and this passing, Chris, reminds me of when I did have a chance to sit next to Justice Ginsburg at a dinner, maybe about 2 years ago. And she talked about her concerns about the Supreme Court, that there would be more 5-4 decisions. And that would not be good for the court, because you want to have the Supreme Court have as united decisions as possible to lay the framework for other circuit courts and district courts to follow. She was very concerned, and I shared that concern. So we talked about some of the major cases that have been decided in 5-4 decisions. She said, sadly, there will be more.
When you talk about the Murkowski, or you talk about any procedural, I mean, I think Senator Lisa Murkowski's statement is very important for what it signals. Her putting it out immediately is quite important.
Yes.
That is a signal to Mitch McConnell as he's huddling right now, figuring out the strategy. But the point you said about sort of procedural obstacles, I mean, am I correct that doesn't a government funding bill have to be passed before the election? And there are talks about that right now. Like, there's not no leverage there.
There are probably a number of things that we should be considering, but we need to think about this. My goal is to prevent the replacement before the new president is installed. We all loved and respected Ruth Bader Ginsburg so much that this is what we should do. And if ever there was a time to do the right thing, this is it. And this justice, whoever will be replacing Justice Ginsburg, will be there for decades. The lasting legacy of the Trump presidency will be all of the ideological, total right-wing judges that he has placed on our federal courts for life. And they will be making decisions on the ACA, on LGBTQ rights, worker rights, labor union rights, individual rights. And already the Supreme Court has shown that it is much more willing to protect corporate interests over individual rights. And therefore, I will do everything I can to figure out how we can stop a replacement from happening. But believe me, Chris, what's going to happen is that there will be a lot more calls for Supreme Court reform. if there is a replacement, but we're not there yet.
Yeah.
Let's honor Ruth Bader Ginsburg first and foremost.